The Dateable podcast is an insider's look into modern dating that the Huffington Post calls one of the top 10 podcasts about love and sex. On each episode, we'll talk to real daters about everything from sex parties to sex droughts, date fails to diaper fetishes, and first moves to first loves. I'm your host, Yue Xu, former dating coach turned dating sociologist. You'll also hear from my co-host and producer, Julie Krafchick, as we explore this crazy dateable world. Happy brunch, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Brunch Talk by the Dateable podcast. If you are new to this show, we dive into some of your burning dating questions and we try to answer to the best of our ability. But our other episode, which is during the week, is about a dating topic. So we have experts, we talk to different people about their dating experiences. So they're two different concepts, part of the same brand, Dateable podcast. So welcome if you're new to this.
It's all under the same umbrella, but this is an opportunity for us to dissect it like we would if we were at brunch together. So just imagine we're all at the table, chowing down on eggs and bacon, dishing about all the good stuff in dating.
I remember those days. Pulling up that text, reading it word for word. What do you think he meant by this emoji?
We're going a little higher level because we're not there to do that. But, you know, we're getting these messages in from you all. So keep them coming because this is what's top of mind for everyone that's going on. And, you know, you can always go back to the back catalog too and look up some of our popular ones. I think the most popular ones we've done is what's the difference between settling and being picky?
Such a good question.
Can you stay friends with an ex? And then how do you know if the person is the one? So those have been the top ones that we've done. So go back and listen if you missed them. But this is going to be a good one too.
And we were just saying this, Julie and I were just having a conversation before recording this, is that the content performs differently based on the platform. So on TikTok, the X one, you know, can you stay friends with an ex? Yeah. That one blew up, I mean, according to our standards. But then does the one exist? Blew up on Instagram, has so many likes and comments based on our standards. Again, just caveat that. And then on YouTube, it's just like none of them really work. It's weird. It's like really interesting how the platforms differ. But oh well, we'll keep trucking along. We do these. I think these are so much fun. I wish someone was doing these when I was dating.
Oh my
because
God,
I had all those burning questions.
Yeah, I think regardless of the platform, our number one is how can we deliver content of what our listeners want and need.
Yes.
So that's what we're really focused on. Number one is, it is funny to see the differences, but we really want to bring the types of questions that are burning for you. That is the goal of this.
And the burning question of today is, when is the right time to meet the friends? A timing question.
So the submission that we got in, I've been with my girlfriend for 6 months and I've never met any of her friends. She's met a few of my friends a couple of times now. And I'm wondering if there's a reason I haven't done the same with her. And a little fearful that she might be even embarrassed or afraid to introduce me for some reason. How do I broach the topic with her?
I love, love, love this topic because it used to drive me fucking insane. There were people I dated who would introduce me to their families like on date number 3, or they would take like a year to introduce me to their friends.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on how people see the act of introducing you to their friends and family. It's different for everyone. For some people, it's not a big deal. For others, it's a really big deal. And just because you've been together for 6 months, it doesn't really mean that time feeds into whether they should introduce you to their friends and family or not. But at the end of the day, this is a question for your partner. You can phrase it like this. I've really enjoyed our relationship. It would make me feel closer to you if I could meet some of your friends or family, you know, the people you are close to. What do you think about that?
Definitely. I don't think you need to be afraid to have this conversation. It doesn't need to be like accusatory or anything that's pointing fingers. You don't need to do any of that. It's a simple question and stating that it would be really nice to like get to know the people in your life. I think you can phrase it that way. I think like you said, people have such different opinions of what this step means, but also people have different relationships with the people in their lives. Mm-hmm. We obviously don't know because we didn't get that information. Do they even have friends that live close by? Are they super close with these people, or are they more like friendly acquaintances that don't mean that much to them? All that is such a factor as well. Like I'm thinking about like even with my partner, some of his friends ended up just visiting within 2 months of us dating. So that's why I met them. But then if, let's say they hadn't visited for another 6 months, like that would have changed the timelines just because of the fact that they weren't super close by. So a lot of times there's other factors that really don't have to do with you in the relationship. So I think just understanding their dynamics with friends and family the best possible, what it means to them, just how they even are. I think, 6 months, it's a good time. It's not nothing, but it's still like, when did, you actually define this relationship? Like, how much have you been seeing this person? Let's say the first 3 months, like you were only seeing each other once a week. It might not actually be that much time in the scheme of things. So I think the timing is hard too, because we always gravitate to putting time on our relationships, but that means so much different things depending on how much actual time you're spending, not months and all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And these milestones are so arbitrary. We feel like, after a certain amount of months, we need to do this, and then we need to meet that, and we need to go to this. It doesn't mean that your relationship has to follow the same timeline. And also remember, this milestone means different things for different people. I remember I had a very close friend who said when he dated people, he would want them to meet their friends early on to get their friends' opinion. So it didn't really mean that the relationship was more serious. It just meant he wanted a second opinion. I've also had friends who tell me that they want to keep the relationship sacred and they want to focus on just a relationship before they expand it out to their, inner circle. So they want to give that one-on-one time first. So it just means such different things. And it's not an indicator of how much your partner is invested in you.
I'm really glad you said that. I had like one friend that came to mind that would always bring guys out early on.
Yeah.
You probably know who I'm talking about. And there got to a point that I said to her, I was like, can you just tell me when it's serious? Because I'm really sick of like investing in these people I'm never going to see again, So maybe this person swung that far in the past and doesn't want to do that now. Again, we have no idea what is going on for them, but I also don't want to minimize that it can feel hurtful. Like I definitely had a situation with, a past partner that I feel like he didn't make that effort as much as I did. But part of it was that he just wasn't as close to people as I was, and they didn't live as close by. So there were those other factors there. But I think like being brought in a little more, and in today's world, there are ways that you can do it. Like you could meet someone virtually. Like when they do visit, you could make an effort to make sure that person is there. Or even if you're serious, you could go visit people together. Like there's a lot of ways that you can make it happen. So I don't want to say it's an excuse, but I also never really like put it down as a conversation. I just avoided it and made it something that I like was upset about, but never brought up. So I think, having that conversation is really like the only way. And then you get out of your head a little of just imagining worst case scenario.
And don't forget, some people have really sucky friends.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they might be scared that they're going to
they don't want to scare you away.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was dating this guy who was much older than her, and all his friends were younger than her. So when she actually ended up meeting his friends, which was like 9 months into the relationship, she was like, they fucking suck. And they're not his real friends. So not that she made him, but he got new friends that were more age appropriate. But she realized in his line of work, he only met younger people. So these were social drinking buddies, but they weren't close friends. So it didn't mean much to him for her to meet them.
And I hate to stereotype, and that isn't actually the stereotype we're getting from this submission, but a lot of times women do have deeper friendships than men. Mm-hmm. It is a known fact. Like there's actually a lot of studies about it. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like I talk about this with my friends all the time, and we're like, it's us that holds the glue socially. Yeah. There's the best SNL skit of like all these women that are bringing their boyfriends to like a boyfriend park, like a dog park, so they can like engage with other men and start having conversations. Because, they just, there is something the older you get, men, again, I'm stereotyping, but it is backed up by data, that it's just something that's not as ingrained, and a lot of time they do look for their partner for that social support. So I think really understanding where they're coming from, and are these just like friends that they like drink with or watch sports with? Maybe that isn't someone that's super essential that you meet,
Yes. Or you start creating new friendships together. There's something very meaningful about these are the friends that we met as a couple, and that's something really fun to do. And also sometimes in relationships, you could inspire, or the other way around, you can inspire your partner to reconnect with their friends because it makes some people realize that relationships are very important and they want to reconnect with that like childhood friend or someone from their past. And that's really fun too. So again, like everyone has such different friendships and there's no way of judging. We just can't judge. We have to just keep an open mind. But in this submission, it sounds like it is important for you to meet your partner's friends.
Yes.
So it is important then to vocalize that and frame it in a way of, I want to meet the people who mean the most to you so I can feel a part of your life and I can feel closer to you. If your partner's not accepting of that, there's something wrong with that relationship, right? If they're not willing to open that door, then I think that's a major red flag.
Right. To at least have a conversation with you of why this isn't happening. But I think getting clear of what this means to you. Is it what you were just saying, Yue, to like be part of your life and not coexist, but be more unified? Is it that it feels like a step? Is it feel like you want them to be proud that they're with you? Like, what is it that's the root of why this is bothering you? And I think coming at it that way with the partner can be a really good way to frame it, because even if it's, look, like I really like you and, I could see this relationship going somewhere, and it almost kind of makes me feel, a little insecure sometimes, like that you're not on the same page because I haven't met your people. Like you could say something like that, and that's not blaming them. It's just stating how you're feeling. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, if someone diminishes how you feel, like that is so many other issues beyond just meeting your friends. You don't want to meet that person's friends.
It's no longer about the friends. You may also find that when you open up this conversation, your partner could say, oh, I was scared to introduce you to my friends because I didn't want you to think we were moving too fast. I didn't want to scare you away. I wasn't sure if you were ready for that step. We can't be mind readers, but there's just so many different scenarios that could play out. And if you don't have a conversation, you're just going to spin with all the different ideas you have about why your partner's not introducing you to their friends.
Yeah. Let's hold that thought for a few messages.
This episode is brought to you by Attitude. Want deep, restful sleep without taking melatonin? Trying to stop your night sweats? Or looking to get a little more eco-friendly? You won't get these with any old cotton sheets, but you will with bamboo. Upgrade your stuffy cotton bedding in Attitude's naturally breathable bedding made from their innovative clean bamboo fabric. It feels unlike anything else you've slept on. And no, they won't cost you or the earth, because right now you can get 20% off your first order by visiting attitude.com/dateable. These unbelievable soft, clean bamboo sheets have over 15,000 5-star reviews, and they've been performance tested to be 51% more durable than standard sheets, 17% better at regulating temperature, and 24% more moisture wicking. I've been sleeping on my Attitude sheets, and in addition to them feeling super soft and comfy, I'm really into the temperature regulating function. Now I no longer wake up in the middle of the night with night sweats. They're so sure you'll love sleeping with them that you can try any Attitude bedding risk-free for 30 nights. If you're not completely satisfied, you can return it for a full refund. Don't forget, you can get 20% off your order plus free shipping for a limited time when you visit attitude.com/dateable. That's ETTITUDE.com/DATEABLE. This is Attitude's best offer right now, so don't wait. Order today for free shipping and 20% off your order at attitude.com/dateable. This episode is made possible by Drizzly. We're always celebrating something in the summer. Weddings, birthdays, showers, graduations, Wednesdays, the list goes on. And finding the perfect gift for those celebrations can be tough, or at least it was, because now there's Drizzly, the #1 app for alcohol delivery. With Drizzly, you can compare prices on the largest selection of beer, wine, and spirits, then send them out to that special someone in under 60 minutes, or scheduled up to 2 weeks in advance. It's basically the ultimate gifting cheat code because drinks are basically the ultimate gift. Think about it. When's the last time you returned alcohol? Never? Exactly. So if you're looking to spend more time celebrating and less time gift shopping, download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com to find their perfect drinks without breaking the bank today. Have you ever thought about how much better dating would be if you had a whole army of people supporting you along the way? We know that dating can be frustrating and lonely, but it can also feel fulfilling and fun. Have you recently decided you want to make some changes to your love life? Maybe you've recently re-entered the dating scene. Maybe you've gone on one too many dates that went nowhere. Or maybe you're just ready to take your current relationship to the next level. That is exactly why we created the Sounding Board, a true extension of our podcast that delivers a personalized experience, which includes monthly office hours where you can drop in and chat with us about anything, weekly sound-offs with guided discussions, and regular virtual happy hours. Allow Julie and I to become your dating Sherpas to provide real-time guidance and wisdom in a more intimate way so we can all navigate dating and relationships together. Join the Sounding Board today by going to dateablepodcast.com/sounding board. Again, that's dateablepodcast.com/sounding board.
I know that this submission is about friends, but I do kind of want to talk about family too.
Let's do it.
I think friends is chosen family in some cases. Again, everyone's definition is different. And family, I think, is an interesting beast too, because everyone's relationship with their family is very different. I've had friends that are like, oh yeah, I introduce everyone to my parents. And, you know, like they don't, like if we do break up, they don't care. They're just like, oh, it's cool to meet that person. And then other people, like how I feel about it, it's like a big step. Like I only have like introduced like one person to my parents, you know, it's a big thing for me. So it really just depends so much. And yeah, I'd love your thoughts too on introducing to parents and how you see that.
To me, it's a big deal to have family approval. And even though I'm an independent woman and I should be able to make my own decisions, if my parents don't like my partner, I just don't see it happening for the long run. It could be a fun thing, but it's not a lifelong thing. So for me, it's like once the relationship gets to, like we've defined the relationship, it is, for me, it's that time to introduce them to my parents. Now, I have not met my partner's parents because they live in a different country. And because of COVID, I have not been able to meet them. We've done video call, but yes, even to my partner, he's like, you know, that's like the one thing missing for us is that you have not met my parents. So it feels like it's a very important step for him too.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, for me, I introduced my current partner to my parents maybe earlier than I would have if I was looking at timelines. But a big part of it was that they planned a trip out here. So I was kind of like, well, I do want him to meet my parents. And it's kind of weird if he doesn't meet them when they come.
Yeah, I can't hide him.
Yeah. And I'm like, in my mind, would I have actually chosen like 3 more months from that? Probably. But, you know, that's what kind of unfolded. And at some point too, as the person, like I think a lot of us are afraid to like introduce people to our friends and family because if it doesn't work out, then you're like, oh, then I have to like explain like where this person went that now has like a face behind them. So I do think there is an aspect of that could be a very real fear for this person's partner. And I think sometimes though, as the person with the fear, you need to kind of just take a risk. Yeah. For me, I was like, you know, it's now or who knows when. Like, I don't know when they're coming back. It might be a year from now, you know, like I think it's like you just got to seize the day too.
Speaking of fear, you just inspired me to think about this too, is that sometimes we don't want to introduce our partners to our friends and family for the fear of what they might say, for the fear of what our family and friends might say. Because, you know, we've all had friends who've seen our previous partners or we were like when we were in our early 20s and you're like, shut up. Don't tell that story. Shut up. Don't bring up that. Don't bring up that story. So it's almost like, ooh, I don't want this person to get a glimpse of who I was before. You know,
I'm like thinking about it out loud and in your mind, mind, I feel like your parents feel like the harsher critics, but sometimes it is your friends.
Oh, yes.
And I think like I can think of many cases, not necessarily with me introducing people. I actually have never really experienced this, but I've definitely remembered one of my friends introducing her partner and everyone kind of like grilling him and like coming down on him. And, you know, it can be really overwhelming, especially, you know, only 6 months in when you're like maybe not as in it together either at that stage. Like sometimes you want to come in really unified to do that.
I will be your hardest critic. I actually do like Julie's partner, but I like very few of my friends' partners. Very few. Maybe like 1%. And that's just Julie's partner.
Wow. I mean, I feel like he's doing well. Not that this is what this podcast is about, but I have another friend that was like the first time she met him, she's like, you're my favorite of all my friends' significant others. And I said to him, I'm like, you know, it's really nice that she said that, but it's also clearly there's like a real low bar. You know, that like you've met one time and you're the favorite. Like that means that everyone else is blatantly not the favorite, right? So I think that is a very real thing, is that you don't necessarily want to hear from your friends about your partner, or you don't want them to nitpick, or, you know, it just also depends. Like maybe you're not fully sure and you've been telling your friends something, like they're going to have a different reaction than if you're like, oh, this is my person, I'm going in. Like I even remember when you met my partner the second time, and the first time you kind of like asked him some questions, and then the second time you were like, well, you've already been dating for a year. Like,
yeah, I don't need to grill you.
Exactly. So maybe this person feels that way, that like I want to be like in it with you 100%, and then we'd move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yes, I will be your harshest critic. And I also think, to me, there's nothing more embarrassing than telling your friends about your partner, maybe some of the problems or fights you've had, and then introducing them, because all they see is like the negatives, right? So I feel like sometimes you have to get your relationship to a really good place before you can introduce them to your friends, because otherwise your friends are always going to be by your side. And if you told your friends about that one time he did this and that, they're never going to forgive that.
Fuck, we should do an episode about that. Like, how much do you tell your friends? Because that's a good topic.
Nothing. Tell nothing.
I've definitely learned that the hard way from me, and that like from me seeing people after the fact, and then also from me telling things, like hearing things and telling things. It's really difficult.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, I'd rather just not know. Just shut up.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Don't say any more.
But then you also like want to be there and you need support. So it's a tricky one, but we'll do that one as another brunch.
Okay. Yes. There we go. Brunch talk next week. Let's go.
We'll save that one. But yeah, I think like what we've learned from this is that, you know, there is some complexity to it. Having that open conversation is never going to hurt, as long as it's phrased in a way that's inviting, sharing your feelings, not accusing them of anything. Like all of that is going to just be a way to progress the relationship forward, even if it isn't meeting someone per se. Like I think really getting to the root, and also just learning about them more when you hear about their relationships with their family and friends will tell you so much about your partner and help you to understand and see things from their light. I'm saying this as a reminder to myself as well, but sometimes you get so occupied of what you want and how you want to like move the relationship that you forget that there is another person there that has all the same fears, insecurities, qualms, like all the stuff that you also have, but maybe it shows up in a different way for them. It's so important to just get that out, and then you don't have to make these assumptions that maybe they're embarrassed or afraid or whatever. You'll just know what the reason is.
Yeah, just having that open communication. And then also you just remind me of something. It's like you can ask your partner, who are some of the closest people in your life? And if they bring up, oh, my friend Susie, she's very close to me, you could say something like, I would love to meet Susie one day. She sounds awesome, right? That's not like, why aren't you introducing me to your friends? It's like, I would love to meet these people in your life.
I remember having that conversation with my ex and him like, oh, I didn't know you like wanted to meet my parents.
Right. Yes.
And I think, like I should have said that like months ago, just like really like to meet them. I think so many times we're waiting for that other person to make that step where they can't be mind readers. What we've learned from this episode and all of Dateable is that even in the most healthy, secure relationships, we're never like fully on the same page because we're two different people that process things differently. So we're never going to be like 100% in lockstep. We might be like 90%, but we're never going to be 100% just because we're not carbon copies of each other. So the more that we can just state what we're looking for and what's important to us, the better, in addition to understanding where they're coming from.
Absolutely. Thanks for that question. It's a great question. We love timeline questions.
Oh, God, yeah. I feel like there's like a bunch more we could do on that one, too.
When's the right time to do this? When should this happen? So keep them coming. Keep them coming. You can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com or DM us at dateablepodcast on Instagram or show up at 50. Just kidding. Not giving away our address. Damn it. So close. So
we
close.
We have like a crew of dateables just like waving their hand.
With the question on a poster board. That's where we draw the line. Anyway, okay, so that's it for this episode of Brunch Talk, and we can't wait to answer more questions on the next one.
See you next week.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. Want to continue the conversation? First, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle @DateablePodcast. Tag us in any post with the hashtag StayDateable, and trust us, we look at all those posts. Then head over to our website, dateablepodcast.com. There you'll find all the episodes as well as articles, videos, and our coaching service with vetted industry experts. You can also find our premium Why series where we dissect, analyze, and offer solutions to some of the most common dating conundrums. We're also downloadable for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Overcast, Stitcher Radio, and other podcast platforms. Your feedback is valuable to us, so don't forget to leave us a review. And most importantly, remember to stay dateable.
Swing by JCPenney. The Black Friday and July deals are hot, hot, hot. Like $21.99 Arizona jeans and Home Expressions quick dry bath towels only $4.99. Get them while they last. Or check the JCP app for an extra 30% off coupon to use across the store. Buy online and pick up curbside to make life even easier. Shopping is back. JCPenney. Offers good on select styles through 7/24. Black Friday and July deals excluded from coupon. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Do it! Hi, I've got a prescription for diabetes test strips. How much is the copay?
That could take me a while to calculate. In the meantime, you should think about over-the-counter Contour Next test strips. You get 35 for $19.99, and they're highly accurate. For full details, visit contournext.com/radio.